So the Wizard of Oz was behind that. Yeah.
The wizard, mate. He couldn't make it today. He's out. He's working.
Oh, I was so looking forward to seeing him.
Doing his magic, mate. He's around, mate. He's keen, mate. I played him your new track.
Yeah.
Loves it.
Yeah.
It's my new favourite. It is, mate.
I was just telling Luke.
Yeah.
Every time I show someone a new song, I was with someone the other day who was reviewing it.
Yeah.
An interview from the UK, and he said the same thing. And then he heard, I said, have you heard The Moment? And he goes, yeah, that's that. I heard that after that, and that was my new favourite.
Yeah, right.
And he said, then I heard Trust, and that was my new favourite.
Yeah.
So,
So is the album out?
no, 23rd of May.
23rd of May. So what's out? What are the songs that are out at the moment?
Baby,
Yep.
which got re-released. Baby, Way You Love Me.
Yep.
And then there was Electric
Yep.
and Rock and Roll Day.
Right.
Rock and Roll Day went on to Planet Rock, and not too many songs have been on Planet Rock 8 weeks straight.
Yeah.
So that actually exploded.
Planet Rock.
Planet Rock in the
bring me
UK,
Yep. Right.
which is the major rock station.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because your stuff's on Spotify as well.
On Spotify,
Where are you? Have you picked up an audience where you're like, oh, like, are you interested? Because obviously anything online has the ability to go global overnight, and it's sort of
yeah, we're sort of like still, sort of like in the shadows, like in the fog. What
Yeah.
am I saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the eerie fog,
Okay.
you know. And I think now that the album's coming out, people were like, yeah, wow.
Right.
You know, like this, because, you know, who's Mario Vayne?
Yeah.
And then Rock and Roll Day, it's like, wow, man, when's this album coming out? And I think when the album comes out, they'll get the full picture.
Cool. Yeah, I can't wait to hear. How many tracks you got on there?
10. Yeah, 10 tracks.
10 tracks.
Yeah.
Is
I
it-
actually put 2 new ones on there I wrote recently, which, but the producer, of course, and everybody was like, they've got to go on.
Yeah.
So I haven't shown him anymore. I've written another 3 albums worth now.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
So you don't have any challenges. You don't have like you seem when I think I caught up with you last because you wrote these songs in a sort of a short period of time, didn't you? For
Yeah,
this
during
album?
the COVID time.
Yeah.
And before that, just before the COVID hit.
Yeah.
And yeah, so many things that inspired me to release, to actually write the album.
Yeah.
Everything from, you know, my kids, who originally inspired me to get back into music,
Yep.
to, believe it or not, insects, mate.
Insects.
Insects, man.
Tell me about
They
that.
creep me out. They creep me out. Ever since I moved to Queensland, they've been creeping me out.
Yeah.
It's like Jurassic Park here, mate.
Melbourne boy originally.
From Perth.
Perth.
Fremantle in Western Australia.
Yeah.
There's only flies there. Yeah, the thing, eh? Flies at a Perth Barbie.
So inspiration from insects. My son would love that, mate.
Well, crazy things have happened that have inspired me. And Electric actually was created because I didn't want to do the gardening. I was just about to sell my house, and the album had finished.
Right.
And the house was pretty much sold, and some guy was downstairs in the studio refurbing. So he was doing all this plastering and floor stuff, and my studio was still down there. It's always the last one to leave.
Yeah, right.
Didn't want to get rid of that, just in case. And we bought this house where there's lots of trees, you know, like I like trees.
Yeah.
But it was just covered in leaves, and I thought, well, this is probably one time where I can, you know, probably do the gardening.
Yeah.
Why, mate, serious. So I went outside, it was just, you know, twigs and leaves everywhere, and I went down to pick up a stick, and the stick ran away, basically.
Right.
And I ran that way, the stick ran that way, mate. So I called up the guy for a quote originally, and he said, you know, it'd be about $350. And I says, I'll do it myself. He said, I'll run him back. I says, dude, I got a lot of things happening, man. I think I might get you in to do this. I said, it's like the day of the fucking Triffids all of a sudden here, mate. That I've got friggin' twigs and things that are running away. And he goes, that's a walking stick. I said, this thing didn't walk, mate. It hauled ass up my driveway like my Harley. It had its head pinned back, mate. It took off.
What was it? What
It was a big
brown like
stick.
Oh, a snake.
A stick.
A stick.
A
What are
stick.
you talking about? The stick ran up the drop.
Okay, so maybe it could be a Perth thing, a stick. twig, like from a tree.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
branch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain more, mate.
Well, I went to pick it up.
Yeah.
You know, like I was just gathering up leaves and stuff, and I went to pick up the branch, and the branch fucking ran off, mate.
What are you doing?
The branch took off.
I don't follow
It
you.
had legs, mate. It looked at me like with these little bitty eyes and freaking took off.
Okay.
And I thought, nah, fuck, I'm not doing this, right?
Right.
So I went down back into the studio after that.
Yeah.
I thought I'm going to just spend some time down here, and I found out the guys put like dust all over my gear.
Right.
I thought, oh no! So I turned on the gear and grabbed the guitar, and I just went to a session. And funny enough, there was this like crazy disco beat playing,
Yeah.
and I played this heavy metal riff over it,
Yeah.
which was the riff for electric.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is cool. So I was in there and I created electric, and that's how it got written. It was written in about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
So I didn't get to thank the stick,
Oh, mate, I'm still intrigued by this bloody stick. I don't know if you're
That's what I
talking.
mean. He was saying, oh, it's a walking stick. There's a walking stick. Oh, this freaking thing didn't walk, mate. This thing freaking was hauling ass, mate, up the drive.
So when did you get into music? You were young. You're 7, round about then.
Yeah, at 6, 7, around 7 years old.
So you were in Perth still.
Yeah. My parents, I had no choice really. They got me into the guitar
Yeah.
and took me to a teacher, and he was really into John Denver
Oh yeah.
and all those sorts of tunes. So I started playing an acoustic, all those John Denver tunes,
Yep.
like Leaving on a Jet Plane and
Oh,
all
yeah,
those things. And
yeah.
my mum loved it, mate. And I was like, still, I don't really think I really want to do this. And then singing lessons was really hard because I was to see an opera teacher. My singing teacher was an opera singer.
I hear that's the best.
Yeah, but she was scary.
Okay.
And, I was only a little dude, like it took me
Oh,
8
yeah.
weeks to open my mouth.
Yeah.
My mum would say, no, he has got this tone,
Yeah.
And she's like, But anyway, I did open my mouth, and she came to every one of my birthday parties then
Yeah.
on.
Wow. Everyone, even what?
Every single one. In fact, the kid photos for little birthdays, Italian parties, mate, serious. They're pretty big, right? And she's always in the back,
Right.
like in these photos, just staring.
Right.
And it's like, so I had to sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in front of my whole family tree, mate.
Right.
Every birthday, when you're a little dude.
How'd you go, mate?
I wasn't really enjoying that, and so I really got into music pretty young, and it wasn't until I did my first concert at a school, and it was a bribe from my mum,
Right.
and she told my teacher in grade 6 that I told her never to tell anybody I was a singer, because, mate, that was just way too embarrassing. I was a pretty shy kid.
Yeah.
But she told him I played guitar, and she says, she wants you to do the guitar in front of the school in the Christmas thing with all the girls in the choir singing Christmas carols, and all you have to do is play guitar.
Yeah.
And if you do it, I'll buy you your first electric guitar.
Oh,
So it's a tough decision, mate,
incentive.
So I thought, so I had to do it, But it was, I was a little dude, so 10, 11. So I was down the oval playing footy. Wasn't interested in my guitar, mate, and I didn't tune it. So I'm there and I started playing. It was out of tune, completely out of tune.
Right.
So the girls in the choir were singing out of tune. Everything was out of tune. 'Cause when the guitarist here, even the triangle guy was looking at me going, "What the
Yeah.
fuck, man? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And it sounded really bad. It was the pits. It was the worst ever. My mum was at the back crying because she was so proud that I did it.
That you're up there.
And there's a bunch of girls at the front, I remember, they're all smiling.
Yeah.
And this is the worst concert in the history of the world, right?
Did you know at the time it was out? Wasn't tuned, the guitar, or were you just into it, just ripping it still?
No, I just kept playing.
Just kept going.
Yeah, and I was in this like nervous mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the teachers looked at me like they wanted to kill me, and then, but it wasn't until these girls, I got my first girlfriend after that. See,
You're right.
you
There's the
and I
incentive.
wrote my first song
Yeah.
for her
Right.
called Forever. And then it was something, on the lines of, I really dig you, but I'd rather be playing with my friends, kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
That was kind of lyrics around it, and she didn't like that.
Right.
And she said, look, maybe we best to play with our friends. And I remember I said, well, yeah. And she goes, after everything that we've been through, you're going to dump me? And it's like, we've only been together like 48 hours. So,
Yeah.
So it was really funny because the song was called Forever.
Yeah.
And it was probably pretty crappy.
Yeah. Well, you were 10, right? You were 11.
Yeah, so that launched me into writing more. And that's when I really started to enjoy the guitar, because I got my first electric.
Mm.
So then my plan there was to find out how to get all these sounds. So
Yeah.
then it became a journey, yeah.
Who was your biggest inspiration?
Biggest inspiration, I had none at that point.
Yeah.
I used to stay with my aunties, my Italian aunties, and they had a very big vinyl collection.
Right.
And they had stuff like Status Quo, Sherbet, old Australian bands. She was right into that. Old AC/DC albums, The Sweet, The Babies, all old 70s stuff.
Mm.
And I took the opportunity, because I wasn't allowed anywhere near the record player, because they threatened to kill me if I did. So the funny thing is about them, right, was they were like the Italian versions of Rapunzel, mate. Right? And every now and again on the weekends, they'd go out to, it was an old house where they had the basins outside.
Yeah.
And I noticed they used to wash their hair with egg.
Really?
Yeah, it made their hair shiny.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was wondering why it glowed in the dark.
Maybe I should do that.
Well, then
Might be
mate,
onto
I'll
something.
tell you what. I don't know, it worked.
Yeah.
It's like really shiny, but
Right.
the whole process, I timed it.
Yeah.
I was a crafty little dude. I sort of timed it. It was about 25 minutes, the whole process, and she listened to loud music. So I thought, okay, so first crack of that egg, mate, I was straight into the lounge room, right through the albums,
Yeah.
And the first one I pulled out was Status Quo.
Right.
Yeah, and it was the first song I ever heard was Rockin' All Over the World by Status Quo.
Ah.
And I was like, mate, this is cool. How do you get that guitar sound, that heavy guitar sound? And that launched me into finding ways to get that sound, and that influenced me to
Right.
to write even more.
So you went
songs.
acoustic, electric, opera singing, trained, and
Yeah.
you discovered like rock.
Yeah,
'Cause
I had a very
metal
big
wasn't
range.
around then, right? Like it wasn't.
Nah, see, that's the thing. I really wasn't into rock growing up. I wasn't into hard rock
Yeah.
growing up. I mean, the stuff that I was subjected to was that stuff, the Bee Gees, believe it or not,
Yeah.
Billy Joel,
Yeah.
albums my older brother had.
Yeah.
I did like the early Kiss stuff that he had,
Yeah.
which was like, whoa, they scared the shit out of me, those dudes.
Yeah, yeah.
At that age, I was like, I looked at the cover and it's like blood coming out of Gene Simmons' mouth. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
But my brother's a drummer,
Yeah.
and we
Frank,
both,
right?
Frankie,
yeah. Shout out
Frank.
Frank.
Yeah, he's a chill dude. He's a funny dude. But like the thing is that we started jamming together in the lounge room. 'Cause, while my dad, believe it or not, was reading the paper.
Yeah.
The place so loud, mate. So we had to go outside, and he made this shed,
Yeah.
a tin shed, mate.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
my amps got bigger, and he's got louder, and we were playing. The
Neighbours
were
love
like,
ya.
Shut up. Mate, we were like menace. They got heavier and heavier as it went. So that's probably where we got into more of the harder rock sort of stuff. But still, I didn't really. We weren't ever playing covers.
Right. Just all your original stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Were you recording it at the time?
No.
Just
We're
playing.
only. I think it was when we started doing that stuff. I was 16,
Yeah. Okay.
and he was 14.
Yeah.
Although we did one show.
Yeah.
It was the first show. We did it for some church group. I don't know, we're invited to do 2 or 3 songs.
Yeah.
And actually, that was the first time that I had to. Actually, no, I did play 3. I had to learn 3 songs.
Yeah.
And so we we started playing. And the first song we played was Angels, an Angels song.
Yeah.
And it was Take a Long Line or something like that. And then the second song, we hadn't really thought about it because we were too young, but the second song, you know, was She's Tight. Cheap Trick. And halfway through the song, mate, they turned off the power, man. It was like this church group.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, well, we didn't really know what the song was about anyway, mate. We was just playing this song, and she's tight.
Yeah.
She's one of a kind. And it's like, looked around, and it's like, what are they doing?
Crickets. Were you rock like? How was your swagger? Were you like little rock stars? Like, or
We always had long hair.
yeah.
And that's which was the thing that was really crazy. I think most people had long hair, but we were allowed to have long hair and earrings and
Right.
stuff, which was really different for an Italian family because my parents were pretty cool
Right.
in that way. Even, you know, all our friends used to say, wow, man, they let you sort of grow your hair and have big, long, dangling earrings and play rock and roll. And, you know, they
When was
loved it.
this? When was this? Like, what year?
Yeah, it was in the 80s.
In the 80s, early 80s. Yeah.
Mid.
Mid 80s.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that sort of launched us into playing in lots of bands.
Yeah.
But the bands that I played with, I was just the singer.
Yeah.
Because I told myself after that, I said, that's it. I'm not learning any more covers on my guitar. Because, I don't know, I didn't want to sound like everybody else. So I started writing songs. And, hey, my brother has been bugging me for like 25 years, man. You know, when are you going to bring out your stuff? When are you going to do your stuff? And it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the time.
And so when did you start like doing?
Well, it was 2018.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so I went through a Mario morphosis, mate. You know, it was this strange thing because I left the industry because I hated where I was and I just didn't like it anymore. It was we're caught between the grunge era.
Okay.
And I thought, well, what best time to start a family, right?
Yeah.
Because I thought, you know, because I used to see little kids, and I thought, I want one of them. You know, it'd be pretty cool to have a little mini Mario or something, you know, a little Maria or something. And it wasn't until I had my first child and my little girl and the way she looked at me, and it changed me forever.
Right.
That was it for me.
Yeah.
The way she looked at me, I thought, God, it's not about me anymore. Hey, it's not about me anymore. It's about her.
Yeah.
And then, you know, 3 later, so I had 4.
Okay.
And
That was fun.
yeah, mate, yeah. But the insect thing followed me around a little bit after. That's when the insect thing happening. You know, my little twin boys woke me up one morning. They were only little, and they said, "Dad, get up! There's a spider on the wall."
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, whatever. There's a spider." And he goes, "No, Dad, it's really big."
Yeah.
Right. So I got up and there's this flipping, mate. Seriously, it's like a dinner plate.
Huntsman.
Yeah, but I Googled the bastard. I said, what is this thing? You know, it's like a super huntsman. It was on the wall. And so I thought, okay. And then I read that it jumps at people and shit. So I thought, fuck, my worst nightmare, mate. You know, how am I going to do this? I got my 2 little fellas there looking at me like, you know, thinking, oh, Dad's going to get it, you know.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, one of my little ones looked at me and he said, Dad, if you miss, we're going to have to move out, mate.
Yeah. I hear you, mate. I hear you.
It was used. So I got the phone book,
Yeah.
right? I was half asleep at the time. I was in my PJs and I launched this phone book and it was a direct hit.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
mate.
yeah, we can stay here now.
Yeah. You turn the house upside down. Otherwise,
Yeah,
that's
they
about it.
inspired me, man. My kids inspired me to get the studio back up and happening at that time.
Yeah. So how old are they now? How old are your kids now?
Well, my smallest one, she's 10. My twin boy's 17.
Cool.
Just can't get at that. And my oldest daughter's 21, just turned 21.
Ah, awesome, mate.
And it's like, you got to be kidding.
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden, you know, you blink and they're older and time goes past and that's part of the thing about this album.
Right.
Everything on this album is a moment. And that's probably why I call it the moment, because every song is a moment in time. And it's a journey. And it's what parts of that journey, that's what I have become today. And I thank everything that's happened to me in the past. And I think one of the songs, the last song, Timeless, is about that, about bringing the past into the future and not leaving anything behind. It's all part of the journey of what you become. And I think it's played a big part. I've become a better songwriter, better singer, a better person when I had kids.
It's one thing I've noticed about you, mate, since I've known you. You've always got such a admirable perspective. Because I've got mates who are in the music game. My younger brother is a muso, and I see, like, if you're not resilient, you don't have a strong and positive mindset in that game, like it's a challenge, right? Where did you get that from? Where did you get your mindset? Like you're quite a jovial, happy guy, and and it's not an easy game that you're in.
No,
Where did that come from?
Someone had asked me that the other day in an interview, and I said, mate, it's like climbing music industry now. It's like climbing Mount Everest in your undies, mate. Right? If you can picture that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Mate, you know what I mean? Yeah. Somewhere up the top, you go. And you're probably going to stay there till the next person goes up there and goes, what the fuck happened to you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Warm him up, see if he's alive, you know? So it's tough.
Yeah.
But if you love it, and it's part of you, and it's part of your DNA, it never goes away. Even though I wanted it to go away at one point, I really wanted it to go away. I got into business.
Yeah.
I started businesses and was a dad and had a house, and I was always pictured in my head, like all these people, coming home, and they've got the kids, they've got the car, they've got the house.
Yeah.
And we're just touring everywhere, like living in a freaking tent.
Yeah.
Thinking, no, there's more to life. There's more to life, because I've been doing music all my life.
Yeah.
It's tough. But I don't know. I think it's just, I've always had that determination even as a kid.
Are you a spiritual bloke?
Yeah, I am. My parents are Catholic.
Yeah.
They fought, well, my mum, she's Sicilian.
Mm-hmm.
So she was right into the Catholic thing.
Right.
So I think that's, I got...
you got the cross tattoo on there.
Yeah. So she was more sort of church thing, go to church on Sundays. Well, we really hated it. We had to walk like 2.5 kilometres to church every Sunday. And I think the only thing we ever pray for, that we never become altar boys.
Yeah.
And I think I stuffed that one up anyway, because rumour has it that one day I was really, really hungry. Frankie was sitting next to me, and I dragged him at the back, and we ate all the confession things.
Yeah, right.
So when they went out, there was none left. And they found out it was us. And it was like, he made me do it,
Yeah.
So it was like, yes, we're not going to be altar boys.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But no, spiritually, I think, funny enough, I think that every musician, whether they know it yet or not, to be a muso and to write songs and to get that feeling and be in that zone, I think every musician is spiritual.
I was going to say, what does that mean to you? To be spiritual?
It was something I grew up with and something that I believe. I believe that there's more to us. There's more to life. We're too amazing. There's too many. I mean, humans.
Yeah.
It can't just be death. If we've got life, if you live and then you die, I just don't think you just
That's
die.
It. So is your belief still in the Catholic structure? Like, do you still?
Well, I broke out of that a little bit and more into the Christian structure, but I still hold the same values and stuff.
Right.
I don't particularly go to church, because I found churches when I went, to be more judgmental than anything else. Because everybody was judging us because we had long hair. And it's kind of, we used to go, mate, you're worshipping a dude that has longer hair than we do, mate. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like Kurt Cobain, mate. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's, so that was a tough one.
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
But to have that in you, I think it's more of a personal thing with me.
Right.
Where the other people, you know, they're out there with it. You know, they're sort of like, and there's some people, you know, a bit over the top with the signs and all that sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of it's something inside of me, and I keep that very personal.
Right.
Yeah, just in my heart, I feel like there's more to life. And aliens, man. I'm right into aliens.
Let's go there, mate.
Mate, I'm right into aliens. Mate, me and Frankie, mate, we were only about like 14 and we seen one of them.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, it was clear, mate. We still would never forget it.
Was this the same day you saw that stick run off?
No, there was... I never seen my first stick
Right.
run off until 2019, mate.
Okay.
Okay, this is when we were little.
Right.
And we're playing cricket.
Yeah.
Outside, we used to, you know, play cricket in the front there, in front of the house, and it was about, you know, 6 o'clock. It was starting to kind of dark. It was summer, and this thing it was clear as day.
Yeah.
It was like an orangey thing. It was hovering down and it went up like this, and it was hovering around, went up like that, and it was just hovering in the sky, and then come down a little bit, and then Frankie said, like, I'm going to go in and call my older brother, come out, freaking check this out. And he just went, whew.
Wow. Was this over in Perth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the way it took off, it went from this to straight into it. And I thought, you know, so that's probably why in electric, you know, it was pretty cool to have that little alien.
Yeah, okay.
That
I
was
see.
part of the thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I'm right into it, and I watch a lot of vids on it.
Yeah.
And I'm really intrigued because, again, how can we be the only ones in the universe? And to think that we're that narrow-minded, to think that we're the only ones. We're not that important, man.
Yeah.
You know, there's the whole universe.
Yeah. And it's profound how actually large that this universe is. Like hundreds of millions of galaxies.
That's it.
Yeah. So, and all those galaxies have their own suns, and then there was something, I don't know if it's now because social media and media, like the actual accessibility to the media now is easier. Everyone's got it in their back pocket. Yeah. I don't know if it's on just my radar, but I'm seeing heaps of stuff now around, like aliens, and they're not called UFOs anymore. What are they? They're
the UAPs.
Yes, yeah. It just doesn't sound the same, does it?
You know?
Yeah.
Nah, mate, UFO, mate.
But I don't know, you're probably seeing it. We've probably got the same things coming through our feed, but I'm seeing heaps of it lately.
Well, they're coming out. Everybody's coming out with now they've had like pilots and Air Force pilots seeing it, and they're still trying to hide it and everything like that. My older brother's really big in the military in the United States. He doesn't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know.
There's always that thing though now, like we're in a day and age now where once upon a time, anything you saw in video format was real, right? Yeah. But now with AI and all of these things that, like anything on video now, I can take a photo of you, I can take a bit of this recording, and I could make our own podcast. I could get AI to write your script. Yeah. Do it at your voice and make your face and everything move, make your hands move.
Exactly.
And so there's always that part of me as well as like everything I see, not just aliens, like everything now. I'm just sort of like, I always think, why am I seeing that?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
is it real?
Yeah. So, but I'm with you, mate. I feel the same way about it.
There's a lot of, but I think that's a smokescreen now too. A lot of that stuff. There's, what is it called? The, you know, the fake videos.
Propaganda. No.
Yeah, no, it's GI or something. What is it called? They call it something.
Okay.
And I'll get it in a sec. But yeah, I mean, you know, all that sort of stuff really intrigues me. And it's always been that way.
Yeah.
And even then, you know, like with the spiritual stuff, I mean, I've seen a ghost. So
Yeah.
when you see a ghost and it's right in front of you,
Yeah.
well then, you know, when people say, oh, but I haven't seen a ghost. Yeah, but I have, mate.
Yeah.
You know, and when you see one, you think, well, well, that's proof to me
Yeah.
that, you know, this dude has died and he's a ghost, you know, like there's something going on there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But with that thing, sorry, mate, I went like frolicking through the fields of La La Land there. It just changed the subject.
No,
But
mate, this is what it's all about, mate.
CGI.
CGI. Oh, yeah,
And this
yeah.
is the thing about it, like the now, you know, the Instagram thing with music.
Yeah.
It's so difficult now. Like you know, like it's this. It's hard to be known because it controls everything that gets heard, and it's becoming artificial
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You know, everything, even from music, it's all computerized, artificial, algorithm. You know, the algorithm.
Bloody algorithm, mate.
Who's this freaking algorithm? You know what I mean?
Mate.
I was always wondering. You know, it's like it's up to there. It's like the Wizard of friggin' Oz, right?
It is. It is. And it's almost like you think about it. Once upon a time, even as a musician, you sort of had the corporate or the record labels that were the gatekeepers, right? And then these social platforms created a platform for free enterprise, so to speak, where anyone in their garage can basically become a superstar overnight.
Yeah.
But now, then again, it's creating a structure within itself that is it's almost become that gatekeeper again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It has. Yeah. But it's controlling it where it's blanketing a lot of bands out.
Yeah.
You know, certain genres of bands too.
Yeah.
Like you could be, you know, the next Rolling Stones, right?
Yeah.
But you're never going to get known.
Yeah.
You know, it's really difficult because you have to pay for yourself now. There's not many labels out there, and the labels that are out there, the independent labels, and they're broke.
Yeah.
So you still have to pay your way.
Yeah.
So you still have to make your own videos. You still have to try and find a way. And it's all about like, oh, but it's Spotify, you know, and you get 300,000 streams on Spotify. And then, you know, you end up like, beauty, man, we got freaking royalties, you know, let's go to, you know, we've got a Hungry Jack's voucher, mate.
Yeah.
You know, they pay you nothing. So what incentive is there
That's
for
legit.
young musicians?
Hungry Jack's voucher.
Yeah, mate, yeah, we got, I think it was about $47.
Poof.
So, Mr. Spotify, you know, if you sold 300,000 albums back in the day,
Yeah.
right? Boy, that's good. You know, that's big, right? But 300,000 streams now, 1 million streams. You know, people getting it for free.
Yeah.
You know, because everybody's paying $10 a month can just get music for free.
Yeah.
And musicians are going in, and and anybody, you could just do a demo tomorrow.
Yeah.
Go to a mastering engineer, master it,
Yeah.
have the right mastering to actually put it on, and you would be accepted into Spotify. That's just where back in the day you got a record deal,
Oh, yeah.
and the elite got the record deal, and they you know, they put you on tour and they market you, and but now and it's so congested, it's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, I think I heard Jamie Foxx talking about it. He just said the craft of learning an instrument, it's just a dying art. Like learning to read music, play a piano, all those sorts, even sing now, because obviously AI and everything's having its way with it, where you don't need to anymore. And that activity is just, it's slowly fizzling, which is pretty sad.
Well, this is what makes this album so special.
Yeah.
They reckon it's you know, everybody that's heard it, it's a bit like they think I've come out of a time machine, right?
Yeah, I have that with you as well, mate. Like,
You know,
yeah.
what happened to you? Were you kind of like in the
Where
late
you been?
70s, where you been? You know, like what happened?
Yeah.
You know, it's every, and I made sure when I was in Texas, and this was why I probably was moving towards like Chuck Ebert, who's a Grammy Award-winning producer in Texas.
Okay.
And he was all about real instruments, right?
Yeah.
Like I was about real instruments. I wanted real musicians and real instruments. I didn't want, sorry man, that's sort of moved a bit, you know, artificial stuff. you know, computerized stuff on it. So there's piano on there. There's everything that's on this album has been played. You know, there's no.
Yeah, there's something about that. You can't emulate that when you just
can't.
the rawness of it. Yeah.
You know, there's so many different musicians from different parts, like all had their little thing, and it's just this. It's just turned out to be like this. Yeah, I mean, I listen to the album now, and I've heard the songs a billion times, and I wrote the songs, and I did demos for them, and you know, and even I listen to it and go, man, this is really good, you know, because usually when you write the song and it's like, oh man,
yeah,
so
your biggest
really,
critic.
it's a bit of a cringe, really, because you
yeah.
listen to it and it's kind of like, oh, that bit there, and oh, I didn't like that bit there, or why did I say that there, or I could have changed the lyrics there. But this one, I could listen to it all the time, and if I like it, I mean, what's it going to be when people hear it for the first time, like fresh, like that? Like, I can't be the only one on the planet that likes it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, actually, now that you say that, even like doing this podcast thing for me is new, right? Yeah. And I remember the first one I listened back, I was like, oh, fuck, do I sound like that? And then I was like, oh, don't say that. And you're your biggest critic, right? And you just, but also too, I'm trying to be mindful and aware and better myself. So even too, as a singer, that's exactly what you're doing too, right? You listen to yourself back. Yeah. It's old hat for you now though, because you've been doing it forever and a day. But like, what's your process there? Like, do you like?
I still don't like it.
You still don't like it?
No.
Well,
so I think it's just something about that's in us that, you know, I would listen to myself.
Yeah.
And then you know, someone to say, "Oh, play it back," and it's like, no, I don't really want to hear it.
Yeah.
You know.
So you don't listen to your own stuff?
I don't. Well, with interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
You know, I watch it once or something, but it kind of like cringes me out after a while, you know?
Yeah.
Because you're thinking, oh, geez, you idiot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What'd you say that for?
Yeah.
Or, you know, it's, yeah, I don't know. It's a funny thing like that. But vocally and singing-wise, though, singing is the only safe place for me. Okay. And it's always been this place where I'm on stage that I feel safe.
Right.
And I think that's a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
Know? I feel like the world it's like me against the world. It's like everybody's against me. But when I'm on that stage, I become me.
Right.
Truly me.
Yeah.
You know, and the recording process is restriction to me.
Yeah.
You know, you have to sing a certain way. You have to make sure that it's, you know, like in the perfect thing with recording.
Yeah. Because,
of course, everything has to sound in time, and in order, you know, you can't go too far off the grid.
Yeah.
But live, mate, I go right off the. right off the grid.
I was going to say to you, do you think there's more merit now in live music as opposed to, like, what sort of moving forward now is the relationship do you see with live versus actually written record music?
I think a lot more people record music.
Yeah. Do you see more value? Like, I guess the point I'm going with, like, say AI now, right? With say ChatGPT, the amount of people that use it, and you can see it, I can recognize it now. You become sharper to it, and so when I look at it, they sort of lose a little bit of value, right? But if I see a proposal or something come through to me, there's a spelling mistake in it, I'm like, oh, someone's actually taken the time to write that.
Yeah,
I have a bit of value. So like, there's almost perfection in the flaw, if that makes sense, because it's just been. It's so easy to overproduce and make it perfect now that you're almost looking for the, you know, we'd say music, playing it live, sort of missing the beat a little bit or hitting that other note or something, and there's this different appreciation for it now. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's an interesting point because everybody's looking for dirt.
Yeah.
Now. Even live stuff now, right?
Yeah.
It's social media. If someone sings like normally live, right? Because it's loud and it's like, you know, you can't hear yourself half the time, and you're singing a little bit out of tune or something.
Yeah.
It's all over social media, mate. He can't sing, worst singer in the world. Look, listen to this.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
This live thing is just, people are so subjected to perfection.
Yes.
Right? And demand perfection.
Yeah.
They think you're actually going to go up stage and just be Like, I mean, there are some freaks, right?
Yeah.
Like some artists that,
Just sound like they do on the bloody album.
I mean,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, but normally
Yeah.
rock and roll,
Yeah.
in the rock and roll world, because it's loud guitars,
Yeah.
and that sad guitar player's always trying to be louder, and the drummer getting over him, mate. I know what that's like, man. Grew up with it.
Yeah.
It's like, mate, that's why my amps kept getting bigger, because, mate, he was just such a hard hitter.
Yeah.
He used to break sticks live.
Yeah.
And they used to fly past me. One got stuck in my hair one night, live. Because he used to, like, flip, like, do this thing, and he's like, whew, and he used to slide off his, off one of his cymbals.
Yeah.
And caught my hair.
Yeah.
Fucking live, right?
There is, though. There is an appreciation for live music. There
is.
The fans of that, go and follow bands and listen and watch, live music. They love it.
Yeah, they do. But and then there's, venues, rock venues that used to be there are no longer there.
Yeah.
They're all cocktail bars. I know in Perth, a lot of the hard rock and the rock venues have turned into cocktail bars. And,
Right.
because that's just the way it's going. I mean, what's it going to turn into where we sort of see things on a screen?
Yeah.
Where this want and need for perfection and computerized robotic stuff is taking away the real musician, and the real musician is like, well, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
You can just emulate whatever you like on these computers, and you don't have to be a musician at all to actually do it. You can actually program it, right?
Yeah.
You've got a drum machine now, or you've got a bass machine, you've got all sorts of machines.
Yeah.
And they don't really argue with you or anything, mate. They don't cause dramas, like band members can.
Yeah.
You're never going to see a drum machine complain like a drummer, mate.
Fucking maybe one day it will, mate. All this AI. Don't do it like that.
Start whinging. Yeah. We're playing that song again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for drummers because they just hit.
Yeah.
And it's like that. It's like this song again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, I wanted to go back. So hang on, give me. I'm just trying to chime into this timeline. So Perth, when did you come over? When did you come to Queensland?
It was the mid-90s.
Mid-90s.
Yeah.
And by that
it was
time,
out of touring and stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted to visit my mother. And she saw me, and I hadn't seen her in like 5 years previous. And first thing she says to me, "You need to eat."
So your mother was here?
My mum was in Queensland.
Right. So when did she come over? So did your mum and dad come over?
Yeah, no, my parents split up.
Yeah.
Which was another part of what probably caused the, my music to always stay with me, because with my parents split up and I was quite young.
Yeah.
And
how old were you?
Well, we were out and about. Me and Frankie were out and about. And I was only like 16.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that hit me kind of hard. And Frank was 14, and I was trying to handle him. We were playing gigs underage.
Yeah, right.
And I think with my songs, it was something that no one could take away from me, because I was at the point where sort of like, at least I got that. And it was I always held on to that.
Yeah.
And everybody say, I never really told it. In fact, I was in so many bands as a singer, screaming away. They didn't know I played guitar.
Yeah, okay.
It was one time, and there was a band, it was in Perth, and the bass player heard one of my tracks.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, is that a Kiss song, man?" And I said, no, that's mine. He goes, "Holy shit." He said, "We got to play that."
Yeah, right.
I said, no, it's all good, mate. It's all good. I didn't want to play it. It was something in me. I don't know what it was, but I just didn't want to do it. I just feel like it was the time.
Yeah.
Because to me, I could have launched this stuff in the late 90s, 2000s if I wanted to. I just didn't feel like there was a place for me. I just didn't feel right. I just didn't feel good about me, about life in general.
Yeah.
And I think that's all part of it.
Yeah.
You know, my parents. So when my mother was in Queensland and I visited her and she fed me up because of this really good Italian food, so I didn't leave.
Why did she come over here? That's a long way to go.
Well, she come over here because she was the real estate, into real estate and stuff, so she got transferred.
Right. Okay. Work.
And my dad stayed in Perth.
Yeah.
And then eventually my dad come over. Probably 3 or 4 years after that. And she fed me up, mate. You know what she did? She took me and Frankie to church, mate.
Yeah.
To this place in, like, she goes, you need food and you need God. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Look at you. Like straggly long hair and probably hadn't eaten in a while. And
Yeah.
anyway, I went to this church, mate. I couldn't believe what I was seeing because I was so used to the Catholic thing where, you know, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and the guy's up there. And I mean, our priest at the time when we were young, I remember he was drunk one day. He maybe had a little bit too much of the wine, mate. He was like struggling. But
God bless him.
yeah. I was thinking back then, lucky dude, eh? He needed it. He needed it.
Yeah.
Oh, the amount of things going on back then. But anyway, there was cameras and TVs. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've seen this. Like, and the people were dancing, and there was
concert.
a band.
Yeah.
There was this band playing, and it was like a rock show.
Yeah.
People were like dancing and carrying on, and of course we walked in there, and seriously, hair down to here,
Yeah.
all in black.
Yeah.
Just come out of like touring and stuff like that, like disaster.
Yeah.
And we sat down and we're like, we must have stood out like beacons or something. Because there's two ladies walking up the stairs.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, my brother was like looking at me going, okay, these are two ladies. But they kept coming close. I said, they're not coming to us, are they? Surely not, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they got us. They says, oh, we want you to come here. You've been chosen to come downstairs. And it's kind of like, you're kidding me, right? So we're going down the stairs, and it's packed. It was like a gig.
Yeah. Right.
And I thought, this is cool.
Yeah.
Because everybody was clapping.
Yeah.
That we were actually getting taken into. I don't know where we were getting taken, mate. At that point, it's like, Mum, you know,
Yeah.
where are we going?
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, it took us downstairs, and then they started rattling on about like talking in some tongue or something.
Oh yeah.
You know, and this is the first time I've been subjected to this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I says, what do you mean? Like, I can talk Italian.
Yeah.
Talk Italian? And that's in a different tongue, right? But I mean, I don't know where you're getting at. And this is where I was a bit, whoa.
Yeah. It's pretty confronting.
It's pretty confronting.
Yeah, especially sort of that age too.
Yeah, at that age too, when, you know, my mum was like, you know, you have the guy at the front and the dude fainting.
Oh yeah.
Right? And then we went 3 weeks in a row and the same dude fainted. And I'm telling my mum, it's the same guy, right? He's fainted.
Get that fella some Skittles.
Like,
Some low blood sugar.
You know, the dude's got a lot of dramas, or, you know what I mean? Like, but he fainted 3 weeks in a row. And it's like, Mum's going, don't you? That's, you know, like, that is wrong, you know? Like, there's obviously he needs, I thought, mate.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He's, no. But yeah. And that's where it all started. We stayed here.
Yeah.
Become Queenslanders.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, mate, that's where it all started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. I'm going to put this aircon on, mate.
It's bloody hot, eh?
It is hot, mate. I'm going to just crank it. I didn't realise it was off. When you come out of those headphones, it's like weird.
Oh, wow,
It's
man. Wow.
it's good. Like, it adds this other level of intimacy, mate, with these headphones.
I dig it.
Let me crank this.
Got to make sure that this is right. That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, you sound when you're up into
Up
it,
against it, yeah?
you hear it come out of the back of your throat.
Yeah.
Mate. Your voice sounds great in this.
Yeah.
So come across, and then got introduced to the Christian church, and then what sort of, because when did you get into the business, like family, like Because you remember you said you took a path where you're like,
This is hilarious.
yeah.
This is.
I love your story, mate, about the skip bins and that thing. Yeah. So tell me, so you came over. How old were you when you came over Queensland? Roughly.
So how old?
Yeah, like what age? What age did you sort of come over?
I was sort of mid-20s.
Yeah. Okay.
Sort of mid-late 20s.
Yeah.
And to Queensland.
Yeah. And then.
And it's just I had this manager. I was here. I was in a band, and I was living with a friend of my mum's who turned out to be my personal manager because he took a liking to my stuff, and he says, you know, he's one of those guys that was like, so, wow, did you write that? No, you're living with me. Right, so I was living with him at the Gap.
Yeah.
And I was actually, believe it or not, it was the first thing I did. The very first thing I did was coach under 11s soccer team.
Yeah, right.
That was the first thing I did.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it. I don't know why, but I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So so I went down there and I coached them, and they hadn't won a game in 3 years. They were hanging off the things. They were like Division 6 and they never won a game. And me and my other brother, Leo, who was right into soccer, we took it on. We said, no, we'll take on Division 6, you know.
Yeah.
And we hadn't lost the game. Won the premiership. It's still actually at the Gap on the board.
Yeah, okay.
So I'd never lost the game, and we beat Division 1 at the end of the year. I told them, because they got the names written on the back, right? I said, they're 11 years old. Like, really?
Yeah.
They're just kids.
Yeah, okay.
You know, so I says, we'll beat you at the end of the year, and they all laughed, you know. We beat them 4-1
Yeah, wow.
at the end of the year.
Okay.
You know, so I says, one day you're going to have names at the back of your shirt, you know. And then he said, look, you need a job.
Yeah.
Part-time.
Yeah.
And I says, no, this is my job, mate.
Yeah.
You know, playing guitar. And he says, no, you need to do something different. I need you to get your HR license. I says, what the hell is a HR license? He says, have a rigid license, mate. I got you a job driving a truck. I said, I ain't driving a truck, mate. And he says, you're driving a truck.
Yeah.
So I got my HR license. I thought I'd go with it. And I ended up in this place called Pink Bins.
Skip bins.
Skip bins.
Yeah.
And I thought, skip bins. Yeah. And I thought, there's absolutely no way I'm doing this, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did it for a couple of days. You know, I think it was about a couple of weeks. And I says, oh, seriously, my hair was sticking up like this. And I was trying to tie it back. You know, it was just disaster, mate.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, this guy's from the office, and he's called me. He says, mate, over the two-way, you've got this certain tone, mate. Have you worked on the two-way before? And I says, no, I've worked with microphones all my life.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, the guy in there he's going away, and it's crook. He's going away for 6 weeks, and do you want to sit down and, you know, do the two-way, which is a pretty big job because you had to organise and liaise on every job.
Yep.
On the two-way to all the drivers by hand. There was no computer. And I said, yeah, I'll give it a go. So I'm a bit like the mad professor, you know. And he was averaging, I don't know, about 52 bins a day or something. I was averaging 140. So he says, well, can you stay a little bit longer? And I thought, what's going on here? So little did I know that they were selling to Viola now. A bigger.
They're probably like one of the biggest, right?
Yeah, back then they were called Colics.
Right.
Waste management. So, yeah, the French, massive, the biggest.
Yeah.
But I didn't know I was part of the deal, so I went over there.
Right.
So, Hero, and this is only within 2.5 months of me getting this job.
Oh, wow.
You know, I've just been catapulted into this from sitting and writing songs to doing this. And
how old were you then?
So this was not long after that. So it was probably about 28.
Yeah.
And I was catapulted over there, and then they had this computerised system all going, and we did everything. And I said, well, you know, like this computerised thing's not going to work. And they says, oh, no, it's going to work, mate. Australia-wide, don't need that.
Yeah.
It's all computer. So what happens after 2 weeks, the computers go down.
Yeah.
And all the customers just went berserk, and they lost 60% of their customers or something. it was a disaster. It was just horrible because they're construction sites. They got limited, like cranes and all this sort of stuff in the city when they do those high rises and stuff. So you let them down once, they never go back. And I was out there, and all of a sudden I'm upstairs, and the boss is saying, "Look, you know all these guys from back at the old job. Do you want to go out? We'll give you a car. We'll put you in a suit." Me in a suit. All right, so they gave me a car and a suit, and I went out there, and I was the first construction guy there. He says, "Man, I tell you what, mate, your service has gone to shit." He says, "If you had a skip truck, mate, I tell you get all my work."
Ding.
Ping, it's kind of like because I'm like that.
Yeah.
I'm a very creative sort of person, I thought, ooh. So I started my own company, and then we become like in the top 3 of had everyone, and then all those big companies were trying to buy me out.
So what did you get up to? Like, like did you have you
ended up with 3,000 bins and 15 trucks.
Bloody hell!
Yeah, and it was just me going out there delivering cartons of beer. There was all these reps that used to go out there with their suits.
Yeah.
And used to go, well, we'll beat them by, if you go with us.
Yeah.
We'll beat them by $2 a square metre.
Yeah.
And they're thinking, in their suits. Me, mate, on a Friday afternoon, going to the sites with 10 cartons of beer. That's way better.
Yeah.
And they go, mate, you can have all of my freaking sites.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was more of a sort of a personal thing, and it was just 2 other girls. We've become really big, and then there was a industry collapse in the late 2000s.
Yeah.
And I got a tip off.
Okay.
And that's about that time when I first started there. That's where I started. That's where I started my family and bought a home.
Right.
And that's where it all started. Yeah. Got into business and become domesticated, mate.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, what did you say? 15 trucks.
Yeah.
15 trucks, 3,000 bins. Bloody hell! And then what happened? Like, how did you? Was that all the way up into 2018 when you?
No. I went into lots of business after that. I moved up to the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
I bought a house next to Australia Zoo there.
Yeah.
'Cause I like animals.
Yeah.
I thought, how good for the kids, man. Because every time, right, you go into the thing, we're there yet? It's a bit like Shrek.
Yeah.
We're there yet?
Yeah.
But this is the first time in my life that we took longer to pack the car than actually get to the zoo.
Yeah, right.
Because we were at the zoo, we were in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
20 seconds we were there, and they're like, we're there already.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a really good thing. It was a really good moment. But the kids were there, and then that's when all started to, I think it was the 2018 where everything that I felt that I created for myself that made me become who I was just crumbled. Like it was a marriage breakdown.
Right.
And then I moved to an apartment on the Sunshine Coast there on my own. It's the first time I'd ever been on my own.
Yeah.
So it was just me and my acoustic guitar, and my mum was sick in hospital, struggling for years with this very rare sickness, MSA, which attacks the nervous system and eventually tells you to not wake up.
Yeah, right.
And breaks everything down, And she was coming out of hospital, and she was, I was on a phone to her one night, it was 2018. And she said, I'm going out on Saturday, just come over on Saturday, and because she used to give me all the food because she was scared that I was going to burn the unit down. Because me, mate, I get distracted, I sit down with the guitar, and there's so many times the fire alarm went off, hey, put something on there, and it's like, and people go, hey, it's only Al.
That's what blows my mind, mate.
It's only Mario.
With your business startup, that's what blows my mind. How like that just took off for you. But as you said, like it's the relationships and
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's relationships, and that's when the very next day it was the very next day after she spoke to me on the phone. So I says, look, I'm in a real dark place here, and she says, you go write your songs. And I thought, yeah, well, it's probably what a good idea. I'll start writing some songs and stuff like that. It was the very next day, she passed away.
Oh, wow.
And I remember her last words to me were, you go write those songs. That's when I started writing this album.
There you go.
That's the first the song. That's actually the song that's on the album. It's called After the Rain.
Nice. One of my questions to you was going to be, what was the defining moment? And you just...
That's the defining moment
yeah,
right
mate,
there.
that makes a lot
where
of
I
sense.
thought I'd lost everything,
Yeah.
which I felt I'd lost everything. But it just, I suddenly dawned on me it was just another part of my journey, and then I was, something I had to do. And that's where I met my new partner.
Yeah.
She just come out of nowhere. I mean, she was like an angel that's come out from just nowhere and almost saved my life, really.
Yeah.
And that inspired me to write a song, you know, Baby.
Ah, right.
And that was
That's
about
inspiring.
giving love a second chance.
Awesome.
You know, because at that point I sort of like was dirty with the planet.
Yeah.
I was dirty with a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, and I was had questioning even faith and everything. For the first time, I was questioning everything. You know, and then my mum died. You know,
It's a lot of change.
oh, there's nothing prepares you for that. You know, you think that you're prepared for something like that, but you're not. You're never prepared for that. And so yeah, I started writing, and then I had a dream. I may have told you this before, but I had this dream. I woke up and I called Frankie. And I said, Frank, man, I had this dream that I was driving along this road and it says, "Welcome to Texas." You know, the Texas song.
Yeah.
And then he laughed and says, "What are you going to do, like country music, mate?" I said, "No, I just had this crazy dream." Anyway, I'm on Facebook and then all of a sudden this guy pops up. And I don't know how he friended me or I friended him, I don't know.
Yeah.
We still don't know. But it's Chuck Ebert.
Yeah.
And he had this show that made me laugh, and it was like, you know, "Are you over the line?" We used to go to car spots, and if they were over the line, he used to film and go, "Are you over the line?" You know what I mean? "Are you one of them?" You know, he used to make me laugh, and then I found out he was a producer, and it said Texas, and I thought, hey, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's very strange,
Yeah.
right? So I contacted him and sent him a song, and that song that I sent him is actually not on this album. It's on the second one.
Okay.
It's on the next one.
Okay.
So they said to leave that one. To
Right.
The next one. So, but then the first thing he said to me, he says, "Mario, amazing songs, mate. But you got to stop writing about women, right?" I thought, oh, well, it was just like zoned in, wasn't I?
Really?
Like,
I thought
this
that-
love thing. It was kind of this zoned,
Yeah.
you know, into the thing, and it's kind of some were dark, mate.
Yeah.
You know, and some were good, but other ones were pretty dark.
Yeah.
So I started writing about other things, and I remember all these things come back to me, and all these riffs started to come back to me from when I was like 16, 18, 20, 21. And it's like the moment, that riff, you know, I've had that since I was like 21. And all these ideas and stuff from the past just suddenly just come out of nowhere, man. And I created this album in the space of, 3 or 4 months.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Mm.
That's you hear stuff like that where you're just totally inspired and you just can't stop it.
No.
No.
These just was song after song
Coming
after
through you.
song after song, and then they I got asked recently. So these 10 songs, right? They're like because usually you get 1 song or 2 songs off an album that are really standouts, and then you know they leave the other ones to the next album, or you know they're usually 1 or 2 tracks. How long did it take to write these 10? Because it's like an album of hits, right? And I said 10. They're the only 10. Actually, I wrote 11.
Okay.
So I wrote 11. I left the 11th one to the second album.
Okay, I'll probably getting ahead of myself here. Let's let this first one come out. And I was going to say, when's that second one coming out?
Yeah, no, you're getting out of here.
Yeah.
Funny enough, now the one's finished, I was talking to my producer and mastering engineer in Sydney. Amazing people, right? Simon Cohen, amazing.
Yeah.
You know, Justin Bieber and all, you know, like the award-winning, and Steve Smart, the mastering engineer, Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
Bob Dylan, you name it, right? And these guys, they were the turning point, because that was part of the chemistry, because my music sounds like it's come out of a time machine from the late 70s. And with them, it's got this fresh, modern
Feel to it.
it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable meeting them, and that was by chance too, because I tripped over him,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
because another producer said that it wasn't his vibe, you know, because he was more into the dance stuff.
Yes.
And so I tripped over Simon Cohen in Sydney, and it turns out, you know, and that's I probably think that's probably 90% of the reason whether you do it or you don't, is if you find that right producer that has that chemistry to can hear what you're hearing, which I tell you, it's not freaking easy, right? Because I hear the whole thing in my head,
Yeah.
you know. And when I write songs, even from 11 years old, I used to hear things that I couldn't play yet. So I had to wait till I was about 20 before I could actually play it, because I could hear the whole thing. And he heard that, but he's enhanced it and made it better. So it's just become quite an epic album.
And I think that's what it does, though, when I think, one, that's why it's so important to have the people around you are so important. But two, when they're as much inspired as you are, like your music will move through them, and they'll do their thing. I think it's the same as Addis. How we work together, right? It's like he'll do something and I'll be like, whoa, and it gets me charged, and I get these ideas, and I'm like, oh, we can do that and that, and then I'll put a bit in, and then then it charges him, and you keep going, and then it has the effect on the other people, and then the team comes together, and then you build something amazing, right?
I saw that. I witnessed that.
You were there.
Every day I was there. In the shadows, man.
Oh, mate.
I was there, man. I
Yeah.
was watching it, and I was
Mate.
thinking, these two guys.
Yeah.
And Cootsy,
Coots, yeah.
you know, you three.
Yeah.
Like, bloody hell.
Yeah, mate. It's we
It was
just
something, mate, I'll tell you, it was like, mate, you guys booked the seats on the Vayne train before it left the station, mate.
You know what though? Like in this, we just did a big project. Literally just went out yesterday, and this project's been 3 years, like since in the making, and Addis put something together, and I looked at it, and everyone else was like, yeah, and I looked at it, I was like, nah, man, that needs a bit of work, hey, and he's like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, the trust he has, for me to be able to come in and go, listen, this is what and then he doesn't, he has no ego. There's no ego there.
No,
and he's like, yeah. And then that's so important too, right? It's that like, we talk about it a bit, but your team's just so important, and
there's certain, and you look at it and you think, wow, why did I end up with such an amazing team like this? You know, does that make, like, it's just amazing.
It is, man.
Like, you're thinking, wow, I've not changed this for the world, right?
Yeah.
Although, you know, for the universe, if I ever seen an alien, I know one thing I'd say. Take me to your producer, mate. Imagine what they're doing up there, mate. Hey? We think we got it good, eh?
Yeah.
They're flying around in these things going, you know, we're going like we're, you know, like shoved in a little seat for 16 hours going to London.
Yeah.
You know, they're flying around the universe, man, and like this. So imagine what their studios look like.
Yeah.
Imagine what their music sounds like.
Imagine.
That'd be pretty strange.
Yeah. Did you see that? I'll share it with you. You didn't see it. What they're doing with sound waves. There was this water feature with sound waves, and what it does, it's imagine all these little like water about as big as a marble, right?
Oh wow!
And what it's doing, it's like imagine a water feature waterfall that would naturally just run off an edge, you know, from ceiling down to the ground, and the water would just naturally fall off, and it'd all be together. I'll send you this video, but they're these these sound waves, and it's this special thing. I don't know, it was made in China or something. And what it does, these little water balls are moving up. They're going upwards, and they're like they're doing this sequence. And they just look like marbles of water. And the guy's like literally, he's grabbing them, he's putting his hand in around them, and
Wow.
I'll share it with you, mate. Talking about what are they doing? Like bloody hell, that is trippy, mate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I'd imagine, yeah, that's freaky, mate. That's
Yeah,
even more freaky than the insects.
yeah,
Me and insects, mate. I actually had an encounter a couple of months ago with the insect thing, a new one. I thought, oh no, not another one. It inspired me to write a song, which is going to be on the second album.
about insects. Well,
No,
not about
actually,
insects.
no. It's about something else. I think it's. I was sitting there having lunch with a mate. I was at work. And I was watching these two praying mantis. And they were kind of like together, like
Yeah. Fighting or
no, well, we didn't know what they were doing. They were just like together in their hands, and they're sort of going like this,
Yeah.
like this to each other. So.
Yeah.
And then we're thinking, what, they're going to have a blue.
Yeah.
There's going to be a fight. This is cool,
Yeah.
right? You don't see this every day,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe I'm the only person that sees these things. I don't know, but it just come to me, and no, they were kind of feely. And the mate turns around, he goes, mate, they shagging. And I says, well, I don't know, maybe, mate. Because there was a lot of this going on, and they were kind of, and then it got faster.
Yeah, right.
So they're going like this. It was like faster. And I thought, mate, they're shagging or something, right?
Yeah.
They're doing something.
Yeah.
Anyway, they just stopped. All of a sudden, out of the blue. It's like something's happening here, right? And there was this moment of, I don't know, maybe about a minute
Yeah.
where nothing happened. And then looked really strange, like they were like doing it again, but it looked like, is she eating him?
Oh, yeah.
Or he's eating her? It must have been she, right? Because I think spiders do that shit.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, thanks for the ride,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've had, 300 babies. I don't need you anymore.
Yes.
And maybe there's a conversation between him and says, what are we going to name our babies? And he was like, hey, man, I'm not into that. You know what I mean? I'm not into that. I wasn't part of the... And then maybe she ate him.
You're right.
Or
Yeah.
probably worked out better for him, I guess.
They're
Hey?
badass, man.
Well,
Praying mantises.
probably worked out better for him, because imagine the child support. 300 babies, So she ate him.
Yeah, right.
So I wrote a song afterwards. I got home and I wrote a song. And it's called Nothing Stranger Than Love.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah, so people were going, oh, is that about a girl or is it about a thing? And it's like, no, mate,
no,
it's
no.
about two praying mantis.
that's awesome, man. That you do that, like that you draw inspiration from something like that.
Yeah, I do.
Is that the strangest form of inspiration you've had for a song you've written?
Yeah, I'd say that
That's up there.
that's right up there,
It's
mate.
top 5.
That actually superseded the stick insect.
Yeah, right.
Mate, I don't know, whatever.
Oh, so it was a stick insect.
Yeah, apparently this guy's come over and he's done the yard and everything. I says, mate, that $200 and $365 sounds a really good deal to me, mate. It's the day of the Driffords here. Like there's all these, like, he says, yeah, that's a walking stick, but they call them stick insects.
Yeah, mate. Fuck, I'm with you now. I didn't know if you did drugs that day or what, but because you said the stick walked away. You didn't say a stick insect.
No drugs, mate. No, well, although I think I've been smoking since I was born, mate.
You stayed away from drugs in the rock scene?
Yeah, look, I constantly stayed away. I mean, back in the day, you're subjected to a little bit of weed,
Yeah.
which was fine.
Mm.
But everything else, for some reason, I steered away from it. Of course, my brother being the drummer, he just lost the plot. Because drummers, they tend to lose the plot more. Because I have to go up there and I have to sing. And I was more conscious. I was a little bit older, thinking, even back then, to think that too. To think, well, I don't want to destroy my voice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a problem in the music. Well, I don't know if it is anymore, but I remember with Aaron, my younger brother, touring. It seems to be part of the scene.
Good for ballads, mate.
Good for ballads.
Good for ballads.
But obviously you stayed away, like you felt you needed to be composed, obviously.
Yeah, like I used to hit the studio and stuff and smoke a couple of cigarettes. And it's still a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, to go into just have a couple of smokes before you sing a ballad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that crack.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know what it is. I'm pretty sure, like, one of my biggest influences, David Coverdale from Whitesnake. I think he was doing the same thing.
Okay.
He smoked, and he was like, I remember seeing an interview where it was like, yeah, just bring out that little bit of ballady stuff.
Yeah.
So it helps, but then in the end, I mean, it's all. I know people that were, unfortunate, like with the cancer thing. A friend of mine's going through it now.
Yeah.
He's got throat cancer. Never smoked. Healthy, mate. The guy's like the modern day version of Action Man.
Yeah,
They should have a little doll like Action Man. I always said to him, dude, just you need to stop. Like every day he was canoeing and healthy as and eating healthy and never smoked a cigarette or done any drugs or anything, and he got throat cancer. And now he's gone through chemo. My riding buddy. So now, I got riding on my own more so.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, well, look at Keith Richards, mate.
Yeah.
It's random, isn't it?
It is, mate. Like, obviously, I think anything in moderation, right? Like, that's the thing. If you do it too much of anything, it's probably bad for you. It doesn't matter what it is, but still, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get these things in life.
All this new stuff like fasting has come into the.
Yeah,
that's been doing that for years, mate. I didn't know what it was called. It was just called not eating, right?
not cooking for myself. Yeah,
I've been doing that all my life, mate.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, how do you lose weight so quick?" It's like, don't eat.
Yeah, that's it.
That's probably the best way.
Yeah.
And now they think that's really good for you.
Yeah.
And then they were saying chocolates are really bad for you, and now they have proven things that actually chocolate's good.
Well, nicotine, mate. Saying that before, have you heard it now? Like, you listen to the biohacking guys that will ingest nicotine at night, to just relax and.
Yeah, I never heard that one.
You haven't heard that?
No,
mate. That's coming. That's the new wave.
That's the new wave.
Yeah, not through smoking it,
no,
but the actual form of nicotine. Just getting it in your system. I don't really know, to be honest, how they take it, but like a calming agent for nerves and
it's all this new stuff. I mean, since COVID too. I mean, I was in quarantine for 45 days.
Where at?
In Sydney, back and forth. Total of 45 days in quarantine. I was stuck in there was only 5 of us on the plane, right? Because I got an exemption.
Yeah.
And there was only 5 of us, and the army and the police escorted the bus. It was the most bizarre thing, right? We got treated.
Mate, it was
actually,
so bizarre.
talk about aliens, mate. We got out of the plane in Sydney, and people were dressed in like it was Area 51, mate.
Nuclear, bloody whatever suit, radiation suit.
Yeah, so the
whatever.
lady says, have you done this? And I says, greetings, Earthlings. That's what I said to her. And, got a laugh out of her. She was...
what a fucking weird time that was.
Now, I wasn't allowed out of this room for air for 2 weeks. Just me and my guitar.
Yeah, okay.
And I actually wrote a song. I actually wrote 4 songs during that time. That's all part of the next, stuff. But that was tough, man, because on the last day, he's come to the door, and he's like, I wasn't even there, man. Like the name, he's got it all wrong. I said, that's not me. He says, well, who are you? I says, what am I doing in this room? 2 weeks. And it's like, well, you can't get into Queensland without it. You're not going to be able to get into Queensland without these forms, right?
Yeah.
Mate, I've gone into Queensland straight through, mate. No one wanted to know even the forms. No one checked anything.
Yeah.
In Sydney, no one checked anything. In Texas, they didn't really care. It's like, welcome to Texas,
right.
man.
That's
You know,
right.
They all took off their masks.
Yeah.
And the Texans, they don't stuff around.
They're almost like their own country there, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they just told, nah, we're not wearing them anymore. You know, but
Same Queensland. We got away with it pretty easy, I reckon. Like, I just remember being here in Miami, going over to the beach, and fucking hell, mate, it looked like the M1 that you drove down on. It looked like all that traffic was on the beach. Like, you literally look at the beach and there was just this sea of people up the beach. It was actually kind of cool. And then police were just rolling around anyone that was sitting down, because you weren't allowed to like stay.
No.
Yeah. So, and people will be like standing up, like, remind me of Barcelona when they're all out there selling sunglasses and fucking whatever else on the beach, and the police come and they all duck down. This is here. It was the other way around. It's like everyone just chilling out on their towels and stuff, and the police would be driving up. Everyone would be standing up like they're busy walking around or whatever, and then they'd move and they'd all sit back down again. And it was such a weird time, mate.
yeah, well, everybody was like, yes, sir. Yep, we had to do it, and there was no one on the streets, right?
Yeah.
And we were on the plane. There was only 5 of us, mate, in Texas.
Yeah, right.
And they said, you know, the COVID thing. So what do? They push us into the same area. So this plane is full of seats, and they had us in the same area.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute, it doesn't make sense, right,
Yeah.
for a start. So this guy was going around making sure we had masks on, right? So anyway, I asked for 5 packets of biscuits. Those little biscuit things.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, sure, you know, have 5 packets of biscuits. So I took my mask off. I was on one biscuit for about 2.5 hours.
Right.
And everybody's caught
Ah,
on.
yeah,
So they're going, nah, still on my biscuit, mate. And the guy's going around, put your mask, nah, still eating, mate. Still eating.
Yeah.
You know, but it was bizarre. It was really weird
Was.
how the world stopped. And it just goes to show how much power someone's got, whatever it is, whoever it is, to stop the world. And it worked, though.
Yeah. Well,
You know, there was
people refuted it as well, though. Like the mainstream that they call legacy media, obviously pushing that message, and then it obviously created the divide, right? Because you clearly saw the people that folded and were in fear of that, and then there was other people like, no, fuck no, you're not fucking jamming that in me or my kids or anyone else. It's just like, no. Like, so that was interesting about it, I found. And as far as shutting down, mate, I fucking loved like being a business owner, right? It shut down, but it was like, I know when I go on holiday, I'm almost not, I don't know if guilt is the right word, but when it shut down, I just felt like everyone's shut down. Yeah. So it's okay for me to shut down. Like,
actually, I felt I wrote this whole album through that time.
right.
That was when I wrote the album.
Right.
It gave me the opportunity to write the album. So in a way, it was an evil.
There was a piece to it.
There was a piece to it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it attacked the elderly
Yeah.
and people from around Italy. I know Italy especially because there's a lot of oldies. They died, right? And people. It never affected children. It only affected the elderly. And that's, you know,
Did
I'm
you
not a
know-
conspiracy theorist, but you're thinking, geez, you know, that sounds to me like population control. I don't know.
I was like, oh, this is just fucking bullshit. Like, and I didn't believe it, and I was just probably pretty headstrong about it for a while. But then I did get it. Like, I think it was like right after the fact. Like, I think we were back at work. It was actually ages after. I feel like the cloud of smoke with it all came and went. But then I remember getting it, and it just rocked me, like migraines, and I'm not one to get sick easy, but I just remember like going, fuck, like if an old person had that, what I just had, God, like that, it put me in bed for like 2 or 3 days.
But isn't that like the flu? You know, like an oldie's getting. So, and another thing is, I didn't get it.
At all, you stayed clear, mate.
I didn't get it.
Right.
I went overseas. I went to LA to get I mean, it was just the whole thing. I went everywhere.
Yeah.
Planes, trains, everything, and I didn't get it. Maybe the COVID was scared of me, mate.
I think so, mate.
It's like, I don't want to catch Mario.
That's right.
It's worse.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a tricky time. But the pneumonia thing, I looked at the statistics after that, and it was really weird. One thing that come out was really strange was the statistics for a certain amount of people every year die of pneumonia.
Yeah.
Well, when the COVID times, it was something like it was almost non-existent.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, no one was dying of pneumonia anymore. How
like
can
they just
how can you just get rid of statistics and all of a sudden it was all COVID?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the part that I thought, hang on, that's strange, right? That's weird. So I just thought that was strange. And nurses showing things in the hospital saying that this person come in and these people have come in with just stuff wrong with them, like heart problems and stuff.
COVID.
And they have COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just weird, mate. It was weird. It was. I feel like now though, it's given people just different perspective on the media because now it's sort of like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Oh, like, and there's lots of data and like the truth's coming to the surface now, I think, with a lot of it. And it's making people probably just think about it a bit more. And
It is. It has made people think a bit more. And things that people think outside the circle now. They're working in. They've found ways to work from home.
yeah.
Now there's a lot of people that are working differently now
Yeah.
than they did before.
What do you think about that, working from home?
About working from home, I think it's a good thing. I think it's opened up other ideas to do lots of things that, if you're working for someone and, the normal people that go to work and they work for someone and then they say, we're going to have to buy a house and thing. But there's these other people that think outside the circle, okay? And those people, they're the ones that think outside the circle and create something for themselves and take a chance on something. Would that force people to look into that window and say, hang on a sec, I can make more money. I can have a better life where I don't have to, work for someone else. I can work for myself and have some time for my family. And I think that's probably a good thing in that way. I don't know. What do you think?
What do I think? There's always two sides to everything, right? But for me, I like having a place to come to work.
Yeah.
I've got like this identity that I get into and put that work hat on, but then I leave and I leave it at work and I go home.
Well, that's the hardest part.
Yeah. And then I'm dad, I'm a husband and I like that. For me, that and anyone that knows me knows that I love having a place to come to with the team and we're all just fucking charged and ready to go.
You can switch off.
Yeah, well, but I think that's part of it because I've seen mates, and I haven't personally experienced, but I've seen a lot of my close mates that work from home and there is no switch off. So that routine.
Yeah, because they're always in that space.
And so they'll work and their home is their work and their work. So and I don't know whether they really have a place where they can just turn off and just enjoy their home.
Yeah.
Because they're always on there as well, right? And maybe that's even something as simple as having your own office in your home and that's where you go to work and you come out of there. I don't know. But for me,
that's brilliant because I know a lot of people that can't switch off. Or they have dramas at their work and they bring the dramas home and it becomes a drama and it's something that's so small can become a huge big drama, and it's great that you can control that. I'm a bit like that, like with what I do. I'm very what's the word? I'm a pretty chilled kind of guy, I there's a lot of dramas that happen with me, but they turn into songs. So they can become in creative pieces. So it's almost like
that's a gift, mate.
It's a gift, It becomes like all these things, It just makes me want to write some songs, even though I would, if I haven't got my motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's one thing for me. Everything shuts down, which is really weird.
When you're on the bike.
No, when I haven't got a bike. I've noticed that lately.
Right.
I haven't been riding that much, and I've been I just don't, I feel like I'm trapped.
Right. Mate, it is a beautiful feeling, mate, to be on a bike.
There's nothing like it if you're out in the mountains away from the traffic,
Yeah. And I grew up on dirt bikes and ridden a couple of road bikes. I haven't ridden like a cruiser or a Harley type style bike.
Wow.
But so maybe I can't empathise with you exactly there. But
Well, yeah, any bike.
but that's what I mean, that feeling of just on a bike. That's an amazing feeling. So maybe
Yeah, it's just unbelievable, mate. I go into the mountains and find this little coffee shop and I just veg out, and I just for some reason I just want to go back into the studio and it's things happen, you know, and it's really weird. It's funny though, Harleys, you know, people think that people that love Harleys hate other bikes, and there's this divide thing. It's a load of bullshit, you know. People that I know that ride Harleys, that love Harleys, love all bikes.
yeah.
They just choose to ride a Harley because they love Harleys more. And the guy that rides a Honda loves Hondas more,
Yeah.
right? Okay, you get those dudes, you know what I mean? I do it all the time. And I nod to everyone. You know, I'm just a happy dude.
Yeah.
You know, so I nod to the... I'm riding my Harley, man, and this guy comes around the posties. I'm like nodding to the posties. The posties going, yeah, man, cool, man. I'm nodding to like people on anything on two wheels.
Yeah.
You know, push bike riders I have a problem with.
Yeah.
I don't nod to them. I don't know why.
Yeah. This goes back into the baby concept, mate.
It does. It does. And that started...
What's his name?
Oh, I couldn't believe what you did to me in that video. I was like, oh, mate, I was so... I've never been that confused. I rode that Harley everywhere, mate. And then coming back from Whoop Whoop out there, and it was pitch black.
Yeah.
And...
A little bit of rain, too.
A bit of rain, and it was like I was in an Xbox game.
Oh,
no, that's what it felt like, mate. It was like, because everybody was going really... Sorry, mate.
No, you're right.
Everybody was going really fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, this could be it.
Yeah.
This could be the time, you know, that I actually die, you know. That was scary. And then when I got back, you know, and you said, you made that phone call, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Mario, you know, we're not going to use the Harley. It's like, you're fucking kidding me, right?
I know.
The pain. The
You needed a longer song, mate. It's still there. It's still there.
And
We need a
but then the funny thing is when you show me and you know the video without it, I thought, wow, that's powerful. You don't need the Harley. You don't need the Harley at all.
Yeah, it's the attitude.
It was the attitude.
Yeah,
It was
there's
like,
so much more in it.
that scooter meant everything to him. Like, it's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And and even people say now, you know, it's like everybody that sees that video,
yeah.
and still today, says that is the best video they've ever seen. And the electric video, that's off the charts.
Yeah.
You know, that one as well. But that baby video,
Mate, yeah.
people still got, and there's something about that song and there's something about that video
Yeah.
that is very infectious.
And even the main actor, well, I can't remember his name. Anyhow,
Oh, yeah.
he was the man. He was just perfect for that
How
role,
could you have possibly scripted that one?
mate. He was just perfect.
When he started, and I thought, you cannot possibly get a better actor than him.
Yeah, to play that role.
Role.
It was him. It was just him.
It was actually him.
Yeah, he didn't turn off like when you had a chat with him after.
No.
Yeah. So what we're talking about is the music video, "Baby," that Leo did for Mario, and you'll have to watch it. I'll put the link actually in this this podcast. And the concept that we're talking about is this guy that just has this passion and this love for his moped.
He got it for free.
But he thought he got it for free, but he just thought he was the man. He just thought he was the boy. He had his Harley jacket and everything. And what Maz is saying is that
You got the girl.
he got the girl, but originally the concept is that he was going to look at it and he would see his Harley, but everyone else saw him on the moped.
Yeah.
Right.
So like Shallow Hal
That was the inspiration.
Yeah.
And then when we put it all together, the video needed a little bit more breathing room, and we ended up deciding to take all the Harley clips out. Well, we've got another rendition anyhow that we could still have that concept. That's right, one day.
What did the first one look like?
What's that?
Well, the other side of the fence.
The other side of the fence.
That's still out there, isn't it?
It is.
That's still, you got that, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere tucked away there.
Yeah, well, keep it in the vault, mate.
You need
Is that because he found the girl that was thinking exactly the same as he did?
As he was, yeah.
And that's so powerful. And that
everyone thought he was a joke
Yeah.
because he was how he loved his bike, and he thought he was so cool and a badass, and it was just his overall attitude. And then he met the girl that saw him and his love for his bike, and he saw the same in her. And yeah, mate, it was
not only that, but it was the cinematography.
oh yeah, mate.
It was I mean, that's when I named him the Wizard of Oz, because I reckon if Hollywood knew about him, I mean,
I'm working on it, mate.
I'd keep him in a cage if I were you, mate. I wouldn't let him out, because he's to get that sunset. Like the sunset followed him, mate. Like the sun followed the dude. You know, like amazing. And even looking at it now,
Shout out to Addis.
there's always, yes, Addis.
Director of photography, mate. Genius.
Yeah, yeah. I was telling people, where you going? I says, I'm off to see the wizard, mate. They go, okay, what have you been freaking drinking? And I said, no, I'm off to see the Wizard of Oz.
Mate, he is, mate. I could give that guy a camera, send him in anywhere, anywhere, and he'll come out with gold. Like it's just, he's on another level.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
He's got a gift there.
He does.
But as a collective, like even that electric video when we went out whoop because I didn't want to be on a little plane.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
sort of said to you, as you called me, he says, oh, no, we've got a charter flight, mate. It's going to take, a couple of hours or something. And I said, no.
Gonna drive.
Little planes are like little boats in the ocean to me. Little planes in the sky.
Ah, that's
I like
interesting,
little boats in the ocean. Not cool, right? They get thrown around and everything like that. And those little planes, they
Oh yeah, mate.
they
I
crash, mate.
well, the same little plane I think we're going to charter is a contact, and so me and Cootsy went with him. He's like, I want to take you boys out to show you what the charter experience is like. And me and Cootsy's like, yeah, fucking oath, all right. And then he goes, just meet me down at hangar here at the Coolangatta airport at this time. And then I'm like, yeah, let's go. This is awesome. Day off work or whatever, we're going to go. We'll fly on over to Stratty, right? And then that night, I'm sitting there going, who the fuck is this guy? Does he even have a plane license? And what plane am I getting in? What am I doing? Like, and I started to think about all this shit. Yeah. And then I'm quickly searching, that plane. And I'm like, well, that's a pretty old plane. And then I started doing it all. And then
Overthinking a tad, man.
And then when we flew up there, mate, I'd do it again, but yeah, it was pretty sketchy.
Yeah, and that's my point.
Yeah,
I knew.
I know.
I knew, mate. I wasn't going to happen. And then we went on our little trip, and it turned out to be an absolute legendary
experience.
Yeah.
And Hooley, Julian went out there.
Really strange places, eh?
Julian, brother from Colombia, he went with you guys.
Yeah.
Hooley, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of those places we went to, man, on the way.
Yeah.
Mate,
It gets rough out there, eh?
Oh, yeah, mate. Yeah, that one place we went to, we stopped in the middle of nowhere. And both me and Keith looked at each other and went, because it was all cordoned off danger.
Oh, right.
It looked like a shallow grave there or something. I was like, what's going on?
Where was it?
I don't know. It was some strange place in the middle of nowhere. And we went in there and...
Central Queensland.
And they were like... We were like 4 aliens that walked in.
You would have been, mate.
Like serious. We're like 4 aliens because they were just staring at us.
Yeah.
It was like something from Deliverance.
Yeah.
And it was not a word was spoken, mate. We just, so I'll grab 4 coffees.
That's it. Just a bit of brake fluid mixed up.
And we're like, they're like, out of the goes, oh, mate, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was fun. The only thing that was missing, We were looking for that kangaroo, but anyway, never got the kangaroo.
Yeah,
Other than the kangaroo would have been good chewing.
Yeah.
the
Jeez,
side.
mate. Could have gone to Narang to get that, mate.
Yeah, we got them at Twin Waters, mate. They're
Yeah,
everywhere. There's this one big male kangaroo, this big boomer. And I call him, he's got all these women kangaroos around him all the time. He's a big guy, and he's all these women. And I call him Rue Hefner. You don't like me. Yeah, I think he heard me call him Rue Hefner once. I'm like, Rue Hefner. And it's like since that he's been chewing, looking at me, and they don't like me.
Yeah.
So, but he's got all these female kangaroos around him. Oh, it's a classic, mate. He's a big boy.
Yeah, right.
He's the man, all right. Yeah, he's got it all going there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old ruse.
Yeah, the ruse, yeah. But that's a journey and it's still continuing, mate.
So what's next, mate?
What's next?
What's next?
Well, the album's coming out on the 23rd, and it's I'm starting for the first time ever, because it's all just been like chill up until now it's getting closer, and I'm getting a little bit nervous.
Oh yeah.
For the first time.
I can't wait, mate.
It's just nervous energy. It's a good energy.
It is a good energy, mate.
It's a good one, because it reminds me of like, you know, that first time when you're going on the footy field, or the first time you're going to do something that's a little bit out of the box, and it's a powerful thing.
Keeps you alive, mate. Like
Keeps you.
bit of worry. You know, there's one of the best quotes, and I've sort of learned it in the context of business, but you can apply it to life. I think it's absolutely amazing. Everyone's so scared to be worried, right? But the quote is, if you're not worried, you should worry.
Yeah, because you're not passionate.
And if you're worried, don't worry. When you pull that apart, if you're not worried, you should worry. But if you are worried, don't worry. If you worry, it's good to worry a little bit.
It is good to worry. That reminds me of a little thing I seen the other day, a bit of trivia. It's like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I've seen that. And backwards. You know what it is backwards?
What is it backwards? It's the same, is it?
Eh?
Is it the
Is
same?
it? What is it?
Is it? What is it?
It is what it is.
Is it?
Backwards. Is it? What is it?
That's cool, mate. That's cool.
I don't even know.
You know?
It's like, okay, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it's true. Worry is a powerful thing. If you're not worried about something, I worry about my kids all the time because I love them.
That's right.
And I worry.
It's healthy.
I worry about, you know, as a musician and an artist and a songwriter, you worry about like, because you're going into a world of, like I said, you know, it's a different world now. And you're going into a world of where everybody judges everybody.
Yeah.
And that's from everything from sexuality to everything.
Yeah.
You know, if you're different to someone, there are people that are going to attack you for being like that, you know. And so part of me now is like, I'm going into this new world because the last time I was doing all the music, it was not like this at all. And now I'm going into, so I'm seeing all this, you know, media and social media stuff, and like, you seriously have to be a media tart nowadays. And I mean, I called the guitar player, says, "Oh, we should do a video, some content." And you know, got any new content?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, fucking content.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, okay, we'll go on the flying trapeze, you know, or something, or playing the guitar or something. You want us to do that? You know, what about listening to the fucking song?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just, what happened to the music?
Yeah, no,
It's all about being...
Comes next now.
Yeah, well, I don't know about next. Maybe like 3 or 4 down the track.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, you need to put on the social media thing, you need to bombard the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Annoy the absolute bollocks.
It's about frequency now.
Yeah.
Volume.
You have to annoy the little bollocks out of them, right? And think that they're going to like you by annoying the bollocks out of you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't get my head around that one. And I'm hoping that, because the album's coming out on vinyl first.
Yeah, awesome. Glad you're doing that.
Yeah, there's 150 limited copies, numbered, available.
Ooh. Put me down for one, mate. I want to get one of those.
Well, they're pre-order is on now.
Is it? All right. I'm going to
It's
grab
on
one of those.
Linktree
Okay.
on Instagram, and there's a few orders already, so they're going to go pretty fast.
What's your handle, mate? What's your website? Give that a shout out.
Okay, so the website is Linktree.
Okay.
So we did have a website, but things are moving away from all that sort of stuff now, and we're sort of like going in towards the Linktree, which is
off Mario Vayne.
off Mario Vayne Instagram,
Yep.
YouTube,
Yep.
and Facebook. But if you go on Instagram, you'll see the Linktree link.
Yep.
And you click on the link, and everything will come up. You see all the videos, but then on the top, you'll see the pre-order
Yep.
for the album.
Yep.
And there's only 150 getting made with the numbered, so they're limited.
Awesome.
And they're very cool.
Awesome, mate.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that, and then taking it live. You know, this is the exciting part now, where it's like, oh, thank God for that. That's all over, right? Yeah, it's like all this recording thing and everything, and now you can actually bring it live.
Yeah.
So bringing it out to the world.
Yep. Let's
So
go.
the baby is born, man.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Little baby's born, and now it's just going to grow, man, rock the world and cause all sorts of trouble, mate.
Can't wait, mate. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But Maz, we're nearly done. I'm nearly running out of space, mate. We're nearly done 2 hours.
Yeah, and we probably could go for another friggin' 10.
Let's do this again sometime, mate. But I got a when you started talking about your kids before, mate.
Yeah.
I just saw that there was like almost instant purpose when you started talking about your daughter that looked at you.
It's the way she looked at me. It was straight through me. It was.
I want to ask you,
no one's
what
ever looked at me like that before.
What message do you have for your kids, mate? Like, what's one message that you'd like to? What's the message you give to your kids?
Well, to be what you want to be, regardless of what other people say. Follow your heart, whatever you do.
Awesome, mate.
Because it'll never steer you the wrong way.
Yeah.
If you follow your heart, because you always find that if you don't follow your heart, somewhere along the track, you've lost all this time, and it brings you back to that road you're supposed to be on, and then you go, oh, damn, I'm back on this road, because it's what's in your heart is what you're meant to do, and if you follow that, you can't go wrong. And it's especially with my kids. It's not about being a scholar. It's not about being pressured to be someone that we want them to be. It's them becoming them and them shining at what they want to do and what they want to be. And I've always encouraged that. And I've never really encouraged music because music's changed so much. But funny thing is, they're all artistic.
That's awesome.
And they're absolutely like off the charts artistic in art and stuff like that. So they've taken that, you know, without me saying anything, you know, but they've always said, you know, like, you know, when they're growing, it's really funny. You know, when they're young, it's like, oh, Daddy, that is so cool. Oh, Daddy, that is so cool. You know, oh, Dad, you know, like, oh, wow. But now you show them stuff and they're getting older. They're like, yeah, Dad, we've already heard it.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, righty-o. Yeah, righty-o. My new single.
Yeah.
Heard it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, mate. Well, I appreciate you coming down, Maz. I'd be keen to do this again, mate. Maybe we do one once you launch the album and
I think so, yeah.
we'll hear it all, mate. Let's get you back in.
Yeah.
And
No,
catch
I'd love
up.
to come back, mate. I think
Yeah.
it's well, you guys are part of the
Team.
part of the family,
fabric.
mate. It's a family. It's
Thanks, mate.
we're all aboard the Vayne train. And it's you know, it's the only place that stops is when we do a gig.
Yeah.
You know, and then it just keeps on going, man.
Yeah.
You know, and when I think the next album is quietly confident it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
But this one, it's the first one, The Moment,
Yeah.
and it is the moment. The moment's arrived.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming, and it's a rocker. It's a banger. It's got everything.
Yeah.
It's got every emotion you can probably think of in one album.
I can't wait, mate.
Like you heard Diary of a Heart. It's an absolute thumper.
Okay.
But there's other ones on there that I think one of the reviewers recently mentioned the ballad on there at the moment. He said it's something that Bryan Adams would have gone #1 for 60 weeks.
Yeah, wow.
It's so powerful. And then you've got, like, yeah, So I'm really looking forward to it, and so happy to see you again and be on your show, mate. It's awesome.
Thanks, man.
I was
Thank you,
looking
mate.
forward to this one. That's the first podcast too.
Yeah, right.
My very first podcast.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mate. No, you're great, man. So natural and just flow. It's good.
Yeah, well, I'm talking to you. If I was, this other guy I was interviewing the other day, mate, I tell you, I had to bring him out of his shell. He was like a journalist type.
Yeah.
And he was saying that the passion and the love and this. I mean, what is the heck can you divide with the songs? And I said, listen to him, mate. I said, there's two Marios. There's a wild Mario.
Yeah.
And that's when he plays live, right? And screams and just And there's the family Mario, right at home, that just lives, chills out, but has a life full of drama. Now, if you take one or the other away, this album wouldn't have been created. And that's the beauty of balance, I think.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
The world needs love, and the world needs rock and roll. That's it, mate.
Mario Vayne. That was awesome, mate. Thanks, mate.